Great. So I was about to start talking about the idea of faith and spirituality. So this, you don't often hear about faith and spirituality. It's typically more associated with religion, I think. So I thought we could start with a little discussion. If anyone wants to volunteer, what that word means to you, or the idea of faith. What does that mean to you? What do you think of when you hear that word? Anyone want to jump in? There's no right or.
I think of trust. The word trust comes to mind.
Mhm.
Sometimes you say have faith that this is going to work out. So it's sort of asking to be trusting of something.
Yeah, sure. Anyone else? Any ideas, thoughts? Um, sure, yeah. Well, to me, faith, like, oh, do you want to say something, Carla?
Oh, it's okay.
You can go ahead if you want to.
Well, just for faith, I also feel it is the context of my relationship to the divine.
Mhm. Yeah, that's often how you hear of it. And to me, faith just means believing in something when there's no concrete physical evidence that it's true. And so you can have faith in lots of things. You can have faith in people, faith in ideas, faith in organizations. But tonight I want to talk about faith as it applies to spirituality, because for me personally, faith is an important part of my spiritual practice. Um, and what I mean by that is, for me, faith, I have faith that everything happens exactly the way it has to. I mean, not necessarily that the way it should or needs to, but just the way everything unfolds, life unfolds in the only way that is possible, given the preceding events before it. And so this is, I choose to believe in this idea because it's comforting to me. And well, I guess it's a little bit more than that, because I choose to believe that everything works out exactly the way it has to, but also that everything works out, and it's all part of the universe rediscovering itself. So I talked, I think a couple weeks ago about the Hindu idea of the world as a play and how God loses itself, or the universal consciousness loses itself in the world, and how all of us and everything in the world, they're all parts in the play that's all played by God, all played by the universal consciousness. We're all just different parts um, coming back together, relating to each other. And the idea from Hinduism is that the whole point of existence is for God to forget that he's God, forget that it's all powerful, in order to have experiences other than existing in perfect bliss. Because existing in bliss forever, it starts to lose meaning. If you have questions, there's a recording on my website that explains more about this idea. But so I have faith that everything that happens in the world, everything that happens in my life, whether it's good or bad, that's all just part of the universe finding itself again. So the universe goes out into the world and becomes all these people, all these plants, all these objects, and loses itself, right? The universal consciousness forgets that it's everything when it inhabits us. And that's what leads to all the suffering in the world. And, but all that suffering, all the pain, and all the good things too, they're all just part of this process of the universe finding itself once more. And for me personally, whenever bad things are happening in my life, when I'm going through a struggle, or it seems like um, bad things are just happening, and I'm having bad luck, right? Sometimes it seems like just nothing's working out. I always try to think, what is the lesson I need to learn from this right now? And that's been really helpful for me. Instead of getting upset that things aren't working out well, or getting mad at someone or something, I just try to figure out, what lesson do I need to learn from this? And I think you can kind of consider that if there's one thing we have to do in life, it's just learn from our lessons, because it's all part of the process. We're all part of the process of the universe rediscovering itself. And it's also comforting to me to apply this to the world at large, especially right now with all of the strife and all of the conflict in the world. It can seem kind of bleak sometimes, although um, yesterday was a good day. But when the world starts getting really heavy and really bleak, I take comfort in this idea that that's all that struggle, all that strife, that's all part of humanity rediscovering ourselves, rediscovering what it means to be human, and rediscover. It's all part of the process of humanity rediscovering that we are God, that we are part of the universal consciousness. And so, if when we can really believe this idea, when we really have faith in this idea, it's extraordinarily comforting, and especially in times of hardship, but also in times when things are going good. And so, yeah, to me, that's what faith means, and how faith can be a very important part of a spiritual practice. So, are there any ideas or any questions about that idea?